What's going on, traders? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is March 30th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action, the indices. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We will talk about some of my trades for the day, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. Before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so let's jump into it here. And we are going to take a look at our price action. So we can see here. All right, so this is our S&P 500. And let's pull up our daily chart. For our box scores today, we had the S&P 500 finish down 0.27%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ finish down 0.5%. We had the IWM small caps finish up 1.68%. And we had the Dow Jones finish down 0.25%. We are pretty much still in this month-end trading period. Tomorrow is finally month-end, and we can get past all that pension selling and the rebalancing, all that stuff for quarter-end and month-end. So you can see here, down 0.24%, nothing too crazy. We're still above this monthly value area. We tested it once during the day, and I actually scalped some calls, once we tested this value area high. And you can see really just a second day of consolidation. One thing, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm watching because about 2 weeks ago, we did the same exact thing where we broke out of the monthly value area, we consolidated, and then we fell hard. And that was certainly an expectation breaker. Typically with these value areas, what it means is when you're above the monthly value area, pretty much means you're above resistance. And usually when that's the case, okay, that's a bullish scenario. So this was definitely, a big expectation breaker that as soon as we broke out, then we just sold off hard. I'm not really expecting that to happen again, but it is something I'm cognizant of, given that it just happened. So we'll have to see. But yeah, another day of consolidation, nothing too crazy there. A lot of choppy price action today. I think today was one of those days where coming into the session, I was like, there's probably not going to be much to do. It's just going to be chop. But there actually were a lot of trading opportunities out there today. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And if we look at our NASDAQ QQQ here, you can see, so the NASDAQ has really been consolidating sideways. We're below this monthly value area. We are above the 20-day simple moving average. And you can see, for better or worse, this just looks like a ton of distribution going on within this index, not really making much headway to the upside or downside. IWM. So if we look at this, IWM had a really nasty spill yesterday. So you can see we had a big correction, about 10%. Then we had, a 2-day rally here, and it was like, okay, this is looking pretty good. We failed at the 50-day moving average, and we failed hard yesterday. Today, we got a nice bounce in the Russell, and you can see we didn't quite recuperate yesterday's losses. You can see really nice extended range candle, and we were stopped pretty much right at the bottom of value there. So this, although it was an awesome day for the small caps, these things, as far as I'm concerned, I really want to see them get back into the monthly value area here. Because I think with these small caps, I'm just making sure not to really chase them when they have a nice big green day, just in case this is just another bounce, within that little downtrend. But we'll have to see. And then if we look at our Dow Jones, you can see the Dow finished down 0.25%. This index has been really bullish. You can see way above that monthly value area. I'm above this 20-day moving average and above this 5-day exponential moving average as well. So really just, some chop and some consolidation. Now, if we take a look under the hood here, you can see on our heat map, there's some interesting dynamics going on here. So we had a nice bounce in the financials, which were really hit on that news of the blown up family office. But today we got a bounce in Tesla. And that is pretty interesting. Tesla is pretty much like, the mascot or the ringleader of a lot of these high growth, high valuation areas of the market. And you can see Tesla, really nice day, finished up almost 4%. And you can see, breadth really wasn't that great, to be honest. There were a couple areas that did really well, but overall large caps, not so great. We did have a bounce in, some of these travel stocks, lodging, leisure, etc. You can see we had a couple of bright spots within industrials, but yeah, very mixed across the board. Consumer defensives and utilities, which had been very strong for maybe the past week or so, did have a pullback, and I actually capitalized and I purchased something within that space. If we take a look here at our sectors, you can see again, a lot of sectors did really well today, but really just not the sectors that are in, the headline S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. This was kind of like a reversal of what we've been seeing over the past several weeks now. So you can see we had in our top slots here, home builders up 1.64%, a little bit of give back in utilities, transport's having a good day. But I think where the real bounces occurred was these areas of the market that have all been at the bottom of the list. Pretty much all these different areas down here were huge front runners in 2020. All of these ripped like, over 100%, crazy runs, some tripling, quadrupling, whatever. And throughout 2020, these have pretty much been camping out at the bottom of the list. You can see really poor monthly performances. Well, those all got a bounce today. And the one that's really sticking out to me is this solar energy ETF. Biden is going to be unveiling his fiscal stimulus package tomorrow. And I know there's some funding going towards clean energy. So who knows, maybe this is just a bounce, but I find it, it really stands out to me that not only did it bounce, but the move was much bigger than some of these other sectors that bounced, up almost 6%. And I had some calls in First Solar, and I actually took a target in those today. For style factors, you can see here, our leading style factors are still these really defensive areas of the market, but they all pulled back today. What led us today, we had high beta up 1.68%, and we had the cyclicals up 1.72%. So a little bit of a, just sort of some give back within this rotation. So if we take a look at some of my trades for the day, I don't even know if we're going to have time to go through all of these. Let's take a look. Yeah, I did a lot of trading today. Yeah, so in the morning, I had day traded some Facebook calls yesterday and took those off for profits. I wanted to take them off just in case we got some sort of a dip in the market today, and we ended up getting that dip. So I put my Facebook calls back on the books. Facebook didn't really end up doing all that much today. So you can see, put those on for 16.85, expecting, hey, maybe Facebook will lead like it has been the past few days. You can see Facebook didn't really do all that much. So I was pretty quick to close out that trade. I entered for 16.85. I think I closed that one out. Yeah, I closed out for 16.80. So essentially scratched it. And it ended up moving a bit lower from there. I took some IWM puts in the morning, really as a hedge because IWM was starting to slip to the downside very quickly. Again, I noticed, okay, IWM, it is not really getting any traction. It's actually lifting and breaking through levels. So I stopped out of my IWM puts. I had paid $9.80 for those, stopped out for $8.67, and I'm glad that I did because IWM pretty much kept running throughout the day. I scalped some SPY short-term calls. I bought the April 16th 393 strikes, bought them for $5.85. This one was a nice scalp winner. I took a target at $6.11, and then I took the remainder of my position off at $6.40. I paid $5.85 for that one. I got long some Carnival Cruises calls for May, and Carnival, along with these other small caps, had a pretty good day. So Carnival, you can see, finished up 3.98%. Nice day for Carnival. I took a small target in that one, really just for prudence. Again, just in case we get a market dip, or something of that nature. Yeah, because in 2021, so far, prudence, has been the way to go. We're not really in that kind of market where, like, things just trend like it was in 2020. So, yeah, I took a small target on that one. Where was that? Oh, yeah, down here. Yeah, so I closed the third of those out for $3.50. I had paid $3.40, just took a small target. And another one, you can see First Solar. This one had a really nice move. I posted this one out on Twitter the other day. First Solar, very volatile. If you take a look at what this one did. This one was like such a shake and bake right here. I'm glad that I stuck with this one because I entered this one. I had a pretty good trade location maybe 2 sessions ago, and it really ran to the upside. And it was like, oh man, I'm already in the money, on day one of the trade. Yesterday just completely bearish engulfed the prior candle. Today we ended up getting a nice green day again, and I took half the trade off for a winner. So I closed out. I paid $7.15, closed half out for $8.50. If this sector continues to run, I still have half the position on the books. And I just put as a comment here, base hits. Especially into month end, where things have been really volatile and you never really know what to expect. For me, if I can get some base hits, take some targets, that's good for me. Then I closed out the remainder of my TLT puts. I paid $3.85 for those, closed them out for $5.30. So that was another good one right there. So a lot of trading today. I also put on a Chewy Iron Butterfly earnings trade. Like I said, this trade's binary. I'm positioned for max loss. And this one is essentially betting on a non-movement in Chewy. I have as my upper strike here the 78 strike. And that's sort of like my barrier while I'll take a max loss. The 86 strike on the call side of the butterfly. We'll have to see. Chewy reported, and they had some nice earnings. So we'll see how they trade tomorrow. I'm likely going to listen to the earnings call tonight and just see how they did. But yeah, in the overnight session, they're doing well so far. So I think for this butterfly, the side that I'll be tested on is definitely, the upside here. You can see it's trading up nicely in the after hours market. And then if we take a look at some stock trading I did. Yeah, so for stocks, I exited my SI, which is Silvergate. I stopped out of that one this morning, and I said not showing any strength despite Bitcoin hitting a new high. This one ended up really running throughout the day. So this one, just kind of happens sometimes in trading. You take your stop and the stock, really ends up moving. So this one, had a really nice bullish candle here. So this one, if it keeps setting up and keeps looking like it's ready for some more upside, I can always trade this one in the future. This is one that I really like to trade. It's a very fast mover. But yeah, nice, day one little breakout here. And that's what I noticed in a lot of these stocks. So if I look, another one I was watching was this one, Intelia. You can see really nice move here. One thing I just wanted to make sure of was, I wasn't going to chase any of these on the highs after like a 10% move. A lot of times in this market, that's where you can get crushed when you're chasing things to the upside. So we'll see if they set up nicely again tomorrow. Maybe that's something to look for. I closed out of Expedia for a nice winner here. Expedia paid $168.35. I closed out for 174 spot 10. With these travel names, Expedia, this was an awesome trade for me. Like, I originally traded Expedia with Leaps back when it was at like $130 a share. And it was like basing for a while, looked really solid. I think like down here I picked some up. I closed out Leaps. Then I've traded, some common stock a couple times. But with these travel names, I don't really think there's like a ton of upside left. I mean, I could be wrong on that, or like maybe they just continue to trend higher. But in terms of this reopening, I just try to make sure like, buy these things on the dips. When they start getting these like red, sort of like distribution looking candles, I'm like, all right, I'll take the winner here. Let's close that one out. And then also got long some Costco. So this one, so I see that the consumer staples and the utilities are really showing momentum. So like, while they're dipping, Costco is a name that I've been watching for maybe the past week or so. It retested this 5-day exponential moving average in the bottom of value here after a really nice run. So like, I'll take some common shares. So picked some up for about $350 today. So we'll see. Costco, is definitely a name that I would want to trade it. I think my target for this one is at least this 360 area. We'll see where it goes from there. So a lot of trading today. I think there were a lot of good opportunities out there in the market. And that's the thing too, where with this month end, a lot of times you get really wonky price action. Like I remember when I used to work on an institutional trading desk, month end was always like so super busy. Trading volume was always, multiples higher than normal. And everyone's kind of like running around with their heads, like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to just get portfolios in line, get them rebalanced. So when I see this price action, I'm like, okay, I like what I'm seeing in the small caps, but I don't want to put like too much stock into it just because it's the first, it's one day of a move and it's during this rebalance until month end. So we'll have to see. Some nice trading opportunities out there. So if we look at this options order flow, you can see we had a JPM order come in very early in the day. And a lot more bullish activity today than bearish compared to yesterday. You can see this discovery, 45 strike calls going up, and pretty much most of these stocks that were involved in the liquidation, most of them are holding up just fine. So of course, like once everybody got super worried about like, oh my God, these things are being liquidated. I think if you had received that information, say for Baidu, on one of these candles, there's going to be a huge liquidation. That would be like, all right, I can get prepared. But after you get like the 3-day just mega dump of the stock, and then you see the headlines, like that's like, all right, we're pretty late. So I do have a call spread in Baidu. I have 2 call spreads in Baidu. And this one's holding up just fine. VIPs, you can see up 8.64%. Tencent Music Entertainment, I have some calls in here as well, up 4.92%. Discovery. This one, Disca. This one up 5.36%. So they're all getting at least their bounces at a bare minimum. And the other thing that I can see is like for Baidu, for instance, this is, I put some size on with this trade. I have the 190 by 200 call spread. And then I also have the 195 by 200. Like one thing I'm noticing is the relative volume on this day, this was the day that I entered, was like a 10 relative volume. Then yesterday, it was more like a 4.5 relative volume. Now today, even less. Let's see what it is today. 2.98. So as we start to see the volume come out of it, that's where I would think like, okay, this crisis-like trading, is probably going to be over and we'll eventually find like our equilibrium, wherever that is. We got some Tesla call buyers coming in. And Tesla, like I was saying earlier, a really nice day. The thing is though, like, I think if you catch these moves, like, I was able to snag some at 600 and like, I wrote it up or I got some calls and captured the move, that's awesome. But I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not really like Tesla, is in a really good trend or anything like that. So I think, a lot of these opportunities today, we'll have to see how things shake out. But I think there were like some good day trading, scalping opportunities. Who knows if these are actually going to follow through in a meaningful way? I mean, for all I know, Tesla could just push back to this 20-day moving average and then just, fall right back over. We'll have to see. I mean, even the ARK fund, it's starting to look more interesting to me because we have this like H pattern here. And a lot of times those resolve to the upside. And it's kind of counterintuitive. Most people think like, oh, we rolled over. Here we go. We're going to head lower. But even for ARK, we're getting close to that 200-day moving average. And let's be honest, Kathy, she's a fantastic investor. And she's investing in companies that have really long runways. So, of course, the valuation is always a concern. Or like, these companies are really expensive. But at this point, we had a really nice, essentially like washout from some of those areas. So ARK is definitely something I'm going to be looking for. I have ARK in the trend portfolio, but even as something where, hey, maybe in the trading account, we'll have to see how it goes with ARK. And then I can see here towards the end of the day, we had some Boeing, some PayPal. This is a little bit different than yesterday. Yesterday, I noticed almost every single large order was for index options. Now everyone is starting to, move back out on the risk spectrum, and they're buying some of the individual names again. JD is another one, another Chinese internet name. You can see JD is putting in some green candles. So we'll have to see how these resolve. But that about does it for today's market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading day, and I will see you all tomorrow in the pre-market session.